Welcome to Win the Day from Back to the Bible. I'm your coach, Pastor Nat, and today we will talk about why we experience consequences. Have you ever wondered, if God is so caring for His children, then why do we experience the consequences of our actions? Maybe asked another way, if we are forgiven regardless of our sins, why don't we get away with those decisions? Well, the answer is quite simple and obvious, but we often miss it. So let's listen to the answer. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 6, Paul writes, "That no one transgress and wrong his brothers in this matter, because the Lord is an avenger in all these things, as we told you beforehand and solemnly warned you." Okay, so what exactly are we walking into here? Well, in the previous 3 verses, Paul has just charged the Thessalonian believers to abstain from any and all forms of sexual immorality. Why? Because we were saved to live a life pleasing to God. But how do we do that? Well, we live according to God's design for holiness, including our sex and sexuality. And then Paul writes, that no one transgress and wrong his brother in this matter. Now, notice, Paul isn't saying that this is an outsider's problem. This isn't just a sin that the unsaved commit. He says, believer, don't do it, and don't do it with another believer either. Don't compromise the walk and purity of another Christian's faith. I have seen this many times in Christian counseling appointments in premarital or other situations where people gave into pressure or compromise from another believer. They always regret it. They are ashamed of it. It shouldn't happen ever. Paul is reminding them and us of this important principle. But then Paul says, because the Lord is an avenger in all these things. Okay, this is part of the answer to our question. Why does God allow consequences for our actions? It's because God is the avenger in all these things. Hebrews 12:6 says, "For the Lord disciplines the one He loves, and chastises every son whom He receives." You see, friend, that's the deal. He will allow and provide consequences for our sins because He wants us to learn and grow in our faith. Just like a father who disciplines his children, he does it because he loves them. The parent who runs from discipline and consequences does not love their children like they should. All that provides is enablement. It provides a pathway to destruction. This is why we have consequences. God has a better way to live, and that's according to His will and plan. So here's my challenge for you today. Ask yourself, how have you strayed from God's design and balked against His correction? If you have, admit your sin to God and evaluate what He is trying to teach you about your faith and walk. Jesus provides us the abundant life, not the boring life, not the unfulfilled life. He provides the full life. So lean into God's design and correction. When we do, we will win the day.